लोकाभिरामं रणरङ्गधीरं राजीवनेत्रं रघुवंशनाथं कारुण्यरूपं करुणाकरं तं श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वा नरयोतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये। श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये। श्यावरे रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। महापदे महादेव की जय।
मंगल हो न मंगल
भगवान की जय। कृष्ण कन्हैया की जय। जय श्री राम जय। सो पुनः आपको सबको बहुत बहुत प्रणाम, मेरा वंदन और आप सबका स्वागत। So आज is a special day, I would say, for us, that we have honor of a distinguished speaker and Ramayana Pracharak, Adharaniya Srimati Geeta Vahini Didi. She is based in but like Geeta ji don't belong to a place. They are universal people. So we say, oh, they belong to Hyderabad or Mumbai or whatever is meaningless. So, so though in physical world, she is in Trinidad, Tobago. Those are my friends who are in India and may not be familiar. Trinidad is a small country south of America. Several years ago, one of my nephews used to live there, but unfortunately, I didn't get opportunity to go at that time. So maybe someday, Lord Ramji willing, I shall come and have Geeta ji's darshan in person. So we are so honored to talk about to have Geeta ji today with us. So she will talk on Ramayana's influence on Trinidad Hindus, and there's a whole long tradition of Indians and in particular Hindus in Trinidad, and I will not go over all that. I don't know much about it. She's the best person. She probably give us some historical perspective and how Ramayana has influenced Hindus in Trinidad. Just for the sake of a little formality, I will give her introduction. She is a full-time volunteer community worker. Since 2008, she has been serving as president of the Hindu Prachar Kendra in Trinidad, as I said. The organization is involved in projects and propagate nature of dharmic heritage. She has been mentored by gurus in Trinidad and India. Most of her adult life has been in organizing heritage programs, training courses for children and youth. She teaches Hindu philosophy, tradition, and practice to the weekly satsang congregation at the Hindu Prachar Kendra, as well as through the many Ramayana satsangs she conducts across the country. Geeta ji is a stalwart pioneer for Hindu women rights. At the age of 21, she became the first local female Ramayana Katha Vachak to officiate at Ramayana Yagyas, which is a male-dominated field. That we know very well that, whenever we have some Katha going on, there's Bhagavad Sapta or Ramayana Katha or Gita Pravachan, invariably 90% time you'll just see male, not female. So, and it's very heartening to me that our sisters are coming forward to propagate messages of our scriptures. So she has endured a lot of hostility because of this. There's always a position when Tulsidas ji wrote Ramcharitmanas in Navadip, there were tremendous objection to that. And it's what he must have gone through that time, we have no clue. So it's always very challenging thing to do things differently. but her oratory skills that we'll soon witness has inspired a lot of people, and she's a well-sought speaker. So, without taking much time, it's my great honor and privilege today to welcome Adharaniya Srimati Geeta from Trinidad, and we look forward to listening to it. So let's all welcome her and invite her to your talk. Welcome, Geeta, and we request you to deliver your talk. Thank you.
So I will greet everyone the way we traditionally greet each other here in Trinidad by saying Ram Ram Sita Ram. This is our original greeting that came with our ancestors from India. And I want to say what a joy it is for me to be here with all of you to share on this topic. So there are 2 or 3 house announcements I will make before starting. I am presenting in English today simply because I don't know the Hindi language fully. I understand more than I can speak. And so if there is anything that you do not understand, certainly OMG and there might be others who will know both languages can help to clarify. So that's one. The second is I do have a very sore throat. It's not COVID. And I was hoping I'll be able to sing a little bit for you this morning. I will still try to do that because as Ram Malikji was saying just now, so much of Ramayana influence in our region has to do with bhakti, sangeet, music, and so on. So it is a real pleasure. And I will go dheere dheere, dhyan se chaliye, so that everyone will hopefully be able to follow. I have prepared PowerPoint to be able to help the presentation because I thought you having visuals as well as being able to read at your own pace will be very helpful. So if OMG will allow me to share my screen, we can do that. And I honor the tradition before we start anything, although OMG has already done mantra. I wish to do the same before my presentation begins. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Sri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Jagadambikaya Namaha. Harihi Om. Jai Shri Ram. Oh, okay. A little technical glitch. 1 second. Are you seeing my full slide, OMG?
No, not full slide. I think I'll try F5.
No, no, no.
Oh dear. Can anyone help with this?
Yeah. Vinay, do you think you should try the F5?
I should try.
F5, try F5 key.
We can also try closing the presentation and then reopening.
Okay, let me just do that. I think so.
You are a highly technical person. You can help.
Yeah.
Are you seeing there now, OMG, the full slide?
No. You need to share the screen. No, please share the screen. Then we will see anything.
There's a button in the bottom, green button, share screen.
Yeah, the share screen is not coming up.
No, you didn't share the screen yet.
No, I'm not seeing the share screen coming up.
No, that should be right at the bottom of your screen.
I know, I'm not seeing it.
There's a green button, share screen. Or do you want to send it to me through WhatsApp?
Okay. Let me do that. Yeah, sure. I'll do that now then. Okay, 1 second.
Jai Shri Ram, 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 Jai Shri Ram.
I'm sending. I am WhatsApping. Sorry, I apologize.
Sure, no
I'm
problem.
WhatsApping to you now, OMG.
Okay, I'm waiting.
I sent it there.
It's there now. I have pushed. Now I have to do the screen share. Let's see.
So everyone is seeing. OMG. Hello?
Yes, we are able to see. We are able to see.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible, and as I get cue from you, I'll keep changing the slides.
Okay, great. So, can I do it myself? Will I be able to shift myself? Not allowed? Okay, so apologies. All right, that's all right. Okay, so apologies for that. So the topic this morning is Ramayana's influence on Trinidad Hindus. And this actually is a topic that we can take several days to do. So I have tried my best to put together what I feel is the most critical bits of information to give you a good understanding of what Hindus in Trinidad and the wider Caribbean have been through, what we have endured, and how we have managed to make it this far, where Ramayana tradition continues to be the most dominant and loved of all our Hindu traditions. So OMG in the introduction was mentioning a little bit about Trinidad and Tobago and our history. So if we can go to the next slide, just so you understand about, okay, I'm not seeing it here. Okay, OMG. Yeah, so we are a twin island state, Trinidad and Tobago, And if you follow the map, you will be able to see where we are quite down at the bottom there near to Venezuela. A very small country, just about 4,000 square kilometers in comparison to India. That is not even a Gao. So small we are. Our population is just over 1.3 million. Just under half will be Indian, and there are about 2.75 lakhs Hindus here in Trinidad. Next. So how did we arrive here? Approximately 14.5 lakhs of Indian immigrants came from India to Trinidad, and this happened over a 72-year period. And the ships left mainly from Calcutta for what was supposed to be just a 1-week journey. Now, I am not dwelling on the details. I just thought it's important for you to have a quick historical perspective. Bahut mushkil tha, just the whole experience of colonialism and indentureship. So a lot of cheating, misleading, lying, and all of those things took place. So it basically was a 3-month-long journey to get from India to Trinidad and the Caribbean regions. And that is covering, by air, it will be about 14,000 kilometers. If you have to do a direct flight, it will take you maybe around just over 20 hours. Of course, there are no direct flights available for this. The first ship, the first Hindus, arrived in Trinidad on the 30th of May, 1845. And just 225 came in that first trip. And of course, those numbers increased as more and more ships came along. And the indentureship ended in 1917 with the last ship, the SS Ganges. And most of the indentured laborers, they were brought by the British from places in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. There were others who came from different regions, but the majority came from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, especially along the banks of the Ganga and heading towards Ayodhya, Lucknow, and those regions. Next slide. So just a quick map so you can follow the journey, a very long, difficult journey that brought Hindus and the Ramayana to this region for the very first time in 1845. And like I said, this continued for about 72 years. The next slide, please. So Trinidad is called Ramayan country for a number of reasons. The greeting that we have always used growing up, the greeting of our elders, Sita Ram, Ram Ram, it is the most popular greeting. There are over 200 mandirs in this small country, and every mandir has a Sri Rama Murti. There are over 25 active Ram Leelas. Daily, there are Ramayan Yagyas. Ramayan Yagyas will be like the Ramayan Katha Saptaha, discoursing, puja, bhojan, bhakti, bhav, katha. So these we call Yagyas here. Major festivals and sacred occasions, Sri Ram Navami, Hanuman Jayanti, Hanuman Chalisa, is known by heart by almost every Hindu here in Trinidad. There are Hanuman Yatras, large processions. So all of these events, all of these activities, all of these traditions have led us to brand in a special way amongst our Hindu community, Trinidad, as Ramayan country. Next slide, please. Here's something that you might find very interesting. I thought we should share some of the names that came and that still exist here up until this time. Ram, and I have spelt it the way it is spelled here because the British corrupted the spelling of our names. So Ram Prasad, Ram Singh, Raghunath, Ram Narayan, Ram Dhani, Ram Kisun, Ram Sundar, Ram Deen, Ramjit, Ramlal, Ram Charitar, Ram Logan, Ram Charan, Ram Avatar, Ram Roop, Ram Sundar, Ram Dev, Ramesar, Ramnath, Raja Ram, Ram Lochan, Ram Lakhan, Ram Bharat. These are among some of the popular names, first names, as well as surnames. And of course, we have many persons named Mahavir, Pawan, Anjani, Sita, even Sumitra, Sunaina, and so on. So Ramayana has also influenced how we have been named here in this region and in this country. Next slide. So next slide, please. Yes. So we look at over the next set of slides that will come, Ram Katha, the role of Ram Katha and Tulsidas. We'll look at what those Jahaji ancestors, our indentured ancestors who came, they brought fragments of Ram Katha in their memory, and how they viewed their coming to this region, their own exile, very much like Sri Ram Banwas, and how they viewed the colonial Raj, the Angrezi Raj, like their own Ravan. Okay, and as I said, indentureship was a very oppressive experience. Next slide. So let's just see very quickly how they will be able to relate and to connect in almost a kind of direct way to Ram Katha, to Sri Rama, and to Ramayana. So we describe indentureship as being quite bitter, but it was Sri Rama and Ram Katha that made it a sweet and bitter experience. So the Hindus came to Trinidad and Tobago as indentured laborers after the emancipation of slaves. They were brought here, our ancestors were brought here to rescue and to save the sugar industry and the plantation economy. Now, sugarcane is called eek. All right, largely Trinidad was built on sugarcane plantations or economy. Sri Ram's ancestral lineage, you would all know, is Ikshvaku. The Indians who came, they were very knowledgeable in the science and industry of sugar. And it was a sort of direct link almost to Ikshvaku Sri Rama. Ramayana and Banwas, the indentures were very familiar with Ramayana Katha and they knew many verses by heart. And I wanted to point out that once you say Ramayana in the Caribbean and in Trinidad, we are not referring to the Adi Kavya of Valmiki Ji, but it is Ramcharitmanas that is being referred to. So it is called Ramayana here in our region. The next slide, please. So the indentured laborers saw Sri Ram's exile and circumstances as their own story. So they looked at how he negotiated through his 14-year exile so that they could find that encouragement and motivation to continue. He was exiled to the forest. They were exiled to the cane fields from their land of birth, Bangladesh. They both had to leave home, leave behind property, community, and they had to come almost owning nothing, barefooted as ascetics, and to just venture out to face the world, to build a better life, to conquer the Rakshasas, and so on. Interestingly, both had to journey across water. For the Jahajis, it was across what we call the Kala Pani Sat Samundar Par, across the dark waters. For Sri Rama, from Rameshwaram to Lanka, across the Indian Ocean. Sri Ram had to face Ravan, the tyrant king. Jahajis had to face the colonial Ravan. Next slide, please. In the end, Ravan fell to Sri Rama's bow. For the Jahajis, for the indentured ancestors who came, their bow was Ramayana and Ram Nam. And further, their bhakti was deepened and empowered by Ramadut Hanuman, who also had to cross water, who had to go across Lanka. And he did so successfully, always accomplishing his mission with Sri Ram Nam on his lips. So this was also very motivating for them. And some of the chaupais and the verses, the dohas I am sharing, they have evolved as signature pieces that many in the Hindu community are very familiar with and that they know by heart. For example, this one was very inspirational, this doha, and I'll chant it the way we chant it here in Trinidad. Ram Nam Mani Deepa Dharu Jeha De Hari Dwaro Rama Jeha De Hari Dwar Tulasi Bhitar Bahirahu Jo Chahasi Ujiyar O Rama Jo Chahasi Ujiyar सियावर रामचंद्र पर जय शरणम शंकर हरिओम जय जय सिया राम सियापति रामचंद्र की जय जय श्री राम. So you would all know the meanings of these verses. I don't think I have to go through them in detail, but of course it is referring to the importance of Ram Nam, of placing Ram Nam on the lips for light, for success to be there within, inside of us and also outside of us. And a signature 2 lines from Hanumanji's journey, as just as he was about to leave to take that leap across the ocean to Lanka after listening to Jamavant words, Kavan so kaj kathin jagamahi, jo nahi hoi tat tumh pahi. Remember, Hanumanji was also very much inspirational for our Jahaji ancestors. So in his own words, from his own lips, what is there that is difficult for one to do once one has love, bhakti, prem for Bhagwan Sri Rama? Nothing is difficult. So these have been very inspirational in the very early years and even up until now. So let's just see quickly a couple images. The next slide, please. Omji, the next slide. Yes. So as we are talking about building and crossing the ocean and going across water, I thought I will share this very fascinating katha with you. It's like we have our own Ram katha here in Trinidad, because we are an island, and there are also other smaller islands that exist around us. One such island is called Shaka Shakari. And Shaka Shakari was a leper colony. And there is a family who came from Bharat. Their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren now, 4 or 5 generations down, they are now reviving this Hanuman Sanjeevani Mandir that was established there in 1945. And this is the Murti that still stands. This is the Murti, the original Murti from that place. So even to inspire people, not just to care for Hindus alone, but anyone who was sick, anyone who was quarantined at Shaka Shakari, this Hindu family, so motivated, so inspired by Ram Katha. It's a very difficult journey to get from the mainland to Shakashakari. They established this mandir there. So much was the love, and so much still is the love for Ramayana and Ram Katha, Bhagwan Sri Ram and Ramaduta Hanuman. The next slide, please. Caribbean Tulsidas. Tulsidas Baba, Goswami Tulsidas Baba, has been branded, named, celebrated, continues to be celebrated in this way as the father of Hindu Dharma in the Caribbean. Because every island, every place to which our Jahaji ancestors were brought by the British, the tradition of Goswami Tulsidas came with them. And this is a special painting that was done locally here in Trinidad, with Tulsidas Baba sitting, and there you can see our Trinity, the three hills in the background, well known in Trinidad. We have the that gain the flowers. We have some local plants around, our hibiscus and so on, to celebrate Goswami Tulsidas Baba in a kind of persona that we honor as Caribbean Tulsidas. And I want to share an excerpt of a local song. Let me see if I can sing this for you with my very struggling throat this morning. It celebrates Tulsidas, and I am sharing these with you so that you can see how, although language has largely been lost, we have found ways to communicate through English and to teach Ram Katha and to teach our dharmic heritage through the language that we know. So this is a local composition. Dhanya hai tulsi for Ramayan, we have Dharma in the Caribbean. Thank you, O Tulsi, for Ramayan, we have Ramayana in the Caribbean. Tulsi ji ki Ram kahani cross the Kala Pani with Jahajis in their memory, chanting Chaupai, planting Ketari for the Jahajis in the Caribbean. Oh, Sri Ram didn't have to come again as man, he sent Tulsi ji ki Ramayan. Dhanya hai Tulsi for Ramayan, we have Ramayana in the Caribbean. So I thought this was a most appropriate piece to share with you from one of our local songs, and I hope you appreciate it and appreciate that it's written in English but can still celebrate the important coming and impact of Ramayana and of Tulsidas Baba for us here in the Caribbean. Next slide. So here are some of the pieces that Hindus here know by memory. It means if you go to any Ramayana Katha and the Vyasa, the Pandit will start to recite, everyone will be able to follow. So Ramayana Arti is known by memory, Ramayana Sumiran, Mangala Charan, Hanuman Chalisa, Hanuman Ashtakam, Sri Ram bhajans many, Hanuman bhajans many, Sohars, Sanskar Geets for Janma, for Janeo, for Vivaha. And I'll try to share some excerpts with you for some of these so you'll understand a little bit about what is still being sung here and the traditions that are still continuing, the music traditions that we are still singing and we are still imparting and propagating, all connected and related to Ram Katha and to Ramayana. So let's see the next slide. Ramayana Katha humko pyara pyara, Ramayana Katha sabko pyara, Bratri prema Ramayana gaave, साक्षी है लक्ष्मण भरत हमारा, Ramayan Katha Humko Pyara. One of the most popular and loved pieces on Ramayana. Next, that's one bhajan. Then this one is actually a folk bhajan on Shabari Katha. Shabari ke grihi dasrat ke dulare aaye. Shabari ke grihi dasrat ke dulare aaye. Cheek cheek phaladharat sevari dona nyari nyari. Rama dona nyari nyari. आरती साजत पंथ निहारत क्षण आंगन क्षण द्वारे शबरी के गृह दशरथ के दुलारे आए. So that's another very popular, well-loved one, and Shabari Katha remains one of the most popular kathas here in Trinidad. The next one. Next slide. This is well-known Sohar. Rama ke mathva tikuliya bahutani ke lage lahu. Lalana kaushalya ji kodiya kelavat palana julavat ho. And of course it continues. I just shared this excerpt. So these are songs that we still sing when we have Chatti, Barahi, and all the sanskars that take place just after the baby is born. So let's see the next very interesting slide, and you might appreciate what is a kind of for us modern telling of Sri Ram Navami, where before we begin the midday worship on the day of Sri Ram Navami, young couples, young married couples, they dress up in a very royal way as Raja Dasrath and Rani Kaushalya, and they bring their newborn baby to be in the palana, and we celebrate our children as potential Ramas and as potential Sita Devis. And this is a growing tradition here right now in Trinidad. So I thought I'd share this with you, because mostly when you look in the palana for Sri Ram Navami, you will see the Murti. Here before the Murti, we do the sthapan of the Murti, we have the baby, a newborn baby that is celebrated. So we celebrate that Rama potential in all our children. And the next local song is something that we sing and share and celebrate while we have the baby blessing. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram. And of course, these 4 lines are from Ram Katha. Jo Anand Sindhu Sukharasi, Si Karate Trailok Supasi, So Sukhadham Rama Asanam, Akhila Lok Dayak Bishram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram. He who is bliss, call him Ram. He who is all this, call him Ram. He the Brahman, call him Ram. He the champion, call him Ram. Call him Ram, chant his name. Raghukul Ram, Ayodhya Pati Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram. I am feeling so happy singing all of these pieces. I hope you are appreciating this. So let's see our Vivaha Geet. So what I've tried to do is incorporate some photographs along the way. This is from one of our local Ram Leela productions, and many of the Vivaha Geets celebrate the marriage of Bhagwan Sri Ram and Sita Devi in terms of how the marriage is done, the actual ceremony and the actual ritual, and we have retained a lot of the Loka Geets. So Hare Rama Biyahana Aaye Janakapur, Rama Biyahana Aaye, Tore Dhanwa Kare Nau Khanda, तोरे धनवा करे नाव खंदा सीता बियाह ले आई जनकपुर सीता बियाह ले आई. And then mal for the malarpan siya dale ram gale jai mala siya dale ram gale jai mala. दुल्हा तो श्री राम बने हैं दुल्हा तो श्री राम बने हैं लक्ष्मण देवर सही बाला लक्ष्मण देवर सही बाला सिया डाले राम गले जय माला. So these are the traditions that are still going on. Let's see now some of the very important chaupais that have evolved and define who we are, and they provide guidance as to how we should live. So if you were to talk to Hindus in Trinidad and ask them to identify or to say a chaupai that they know, you will find that they will tell you any one of these three that is on this slide right now. The most popular one is Raghu Kulariti Sada Chali Aayi, Pran Jahu Baru Bachanu Na Jai. And this is not by chance. We are talking here about Raghu Kulariti. For those ancestors or Jahaji ancestors who came, Kulariti, family tradition, family reputation, family honor and lineage, it was sacred. So everything that they did, everything that they had to endure, they would recall Raja Dasarath's own suffering, even though he had to give up Sri Rama. He would not allow his family honor to fall. And this inspired them greatly. And we have a saying here, if you meet up any sharabi on the street, any, there in the wine shop somewhere, and you say, Raghu, they will start to sing this for you. It's so powerful. The second one, Siya Ram Mai Sab Jag Jani, Karo Pranam Jori Jugapani. It's of course a reflection of our Hindu worldview. Which is this place? Where does Sri Ram not exist? So there is a special tradition when this is chanted, people put their hands together and they spin 360 degrees 3 times, chanting this to do Jag Pranam to Sita Mata and to Sri Rama in and through this entire creation. The third, Binu Satsang Vivek na hoi, Ram Kripa Binu Sulabh na soi. It is a reminder about the importance of good company. At the end of the very distressing, tiring, hard days, labor in the cane fields and so on, the only solace at the end of the day was to sit in the satsang with the neighbors and the few persons who might be able to come and join and be around to engage in satsang, because satsang was motivating, like how you put your phone on a charger, your device on a charger to charge. It's the same thing that satsang did for our Jahaji ancestors. And so it's not by chance this chaupai was one of these signature pieces. And they also acknowledge that the possibility of satsang is through Ram Kripa, Sri Rama's grace itself. So these three are the three defining signature chaupais for us here in Trinidad. The next slide, please. I'm sharing a few others that have evolved to be very impactful in our lives. And this has to do when Sri Rama went with Muni Vishwamitra to protect the yajna.
Your voice is frozen, Geeta ji. Geeta ji. Is anybody else experiencing this? Is your presentation frozen right now?
Yeah, her screen is frozen.
Screen is frozen, yeah. There's a power cut. She's reconnecting. So please, थोड़ा देरी रखें.
मैं तब तक एक गॉसिप कर लेती हूँ ओम जी, अगर आप माइंड ना करें, क्योंकि हमारे जो जेठ हैं उनकी फैमिली साइड त्रिनिदाद टोबैगो रहती है, तो वहां मैं कई बार जा चुकी हूँ. और ये लोग इतने धार्मिक हैं, जिस तरह मेरे जेठ जी की जो फ्यूनरल सेरेमनी हुई थी, हमने तो कभी इंडिया में देखी नहीं उस तरह की.
अच्छा.
इतना हर कदम पे वो पूरा पूजा पाठ करते हुए जाते थे. जो वहां पे उन्होंने फ्यूनरल पायर्स बनाई हुई थी, ऐसी बढ़िया बनाई हुई थी कि उसमें से ड्रॉ करके उन्होंने शेल्फ सा बनाया हुआ था. बस उसमें इंसान को रख दिया और फिर उसको पीछे कर दिया, और 3 वो सजा के रखते थे कि एक के बाद एक आता जाए और रखें, वो जल जाए और फिर दूसरा आ जाए. बिल्कुल इतना वेल ऑर्गेनाइज्ड काम था कि इंडिया में कभी इस तरह हो ही नहीं सकता. त्रिनिदाद पे तो मेरे बड़े चक्कर लगे थे. जो भाई साहब बीमार थे, फिर बाद में गए, तो वहां पे तो जितनी धार्मिक प्रवृत्ति है हम लोगों में तो उसकी आधी भी नहीं है. हर एक घर में मंदिर है, पूरी पूजा होती है, सब होता है. हाँ.
देखिए ना, वो बता रहे थे वहाँ बच्चा हनुमान चालीसा जानता है.
हाँ.
कितना
हिंदी इतना है, भजन गाने में सब बिल्कुल एक्सपर्ट है.
हाँ. और वो हिंदी एज a भाषा नहीं जानते. और आप देखिए ना, सारे के सारे उनके भजन हैं सब रोमन लिपि में, अंग्रेजी भाषा में लिखे हैं, पर बिल्कुल आनंद से, प्रेम से गाते हैं और सबको कंठस्थ हैं. तो बहुत बड़ी बात है.
और प्रोनाउंसिएशन कितना क्लियर, लगता ही नहीं कि ये त्रिनाद में रहते हैं.
हाँ.
बढ़िया प्रोनाउंसिएशन, इतना उधर भोजपुरी टाइप का, बहुत ही सुंदर लगा, बहुत अच्छा लगा सारा कुछ.
हमारे तो दोनों, एक भतीजा त्रिनिदाद में रहता है, टोबैगो में भी रहता है. एक जेठ के जो दोनों बच्चे हैं वो चले गए थे वहां पे, तो इसलिए काफी जाना आना हुआ.
देखिए, हमारे संस्कार हैं, हमारी संस्कृति है, इन्होंने इतने सालों के बाद में भी प्रिजर्व करके रखा है. और हम लोग धीमे धीमे, फॉर्चुनेटली भारत में तो आप जानते ही हैं क्या हाल है.
लोग यहाँ पे अपने 50s-60s में जब आए थे उसके ट्रेडिशन फॉलो कर रहे हैं, वैसे ये लोग जब उस समय गए थे तब के ट्रेडिशन फॉलो कर रहे हैं।
हाँ, मैं वो देखने उनको गए करीब करीब 200 साल होना है, 1845 क्या बता रहे थे, पौने 200 साल। और उसका फॉलो करना, उसको जीवित रखना, ये बहुत बहुत बड़ी बात है।
अगर देखिए सोहर शब्द मुझे बड़ा याद आया, अच्छा लगा। कैसे कैसे वही शब्द जो है, ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे भारत में ही बिल्कुल हो रहा है ये सब कुछ, बहुत ही बढ़िया लगा। सोहर शब्द ने तो मुझे बहुत वो कर दिया, आनंदित।
हाँ, नहीं सोहर शब्द तो भारत में आप रैंडमली पूछिए, और मैं उत्तर भाषा की उत्तर भारत की बात में हिंदी बात करता हूँ, तो 80% लोगों को पता नहीं होगा सोहर शब्द क्या है। तो
मुझे अब याद आ रहा था, हम भी भूल गए थे वो बचपन में, इतना सुना था तो अब एकदम याद आया ना, तो एकदम आनंदित हो गया, बदन पूरा हो रहा है रोमांचित।
नॉर्थ बिहार में सोहर गाना होता है, बच्चा होता है तो सोहर तो अभी
राइट। तो जब तक वो चूंकि वहाँ उनका थोड़ा सा पावर फेलियर है, तो वो जुड़ने का, मैंने जब फोन पर बात की तो जोड़ने का प्रयास कर रही हैं वो, और अभी जुड़ेंगी, मुझे पूरा पक्का विश्वास है। तो
सोहर के साथ उन्होंने विवाह भी गाया ना, दूल्हा बने जनकपुर में श्री राम। दूल्हा शब्द, और इनके भजन में एक बड़ी अच्छी बात आई, उन्हें जो कहते हैं कि कब कब आओगे तुम राम, इसलिए तुमने भेज दिया तुलसी की रामायण। इसलिए भेज दी तुमने तुलसी की रामायण। कितना बढ़िया है।
और हमसे खिलनी का भी याद आता है प्रसंग,
भी बदल दे, पानी, चलो ठीक है,
पानी बदल देते हैं।
हाँ, ओके,
पानी बदल।
अब बाथरूम कर लो फिर इतनी देर में, कि कर लिया बाथरूम?
नहीं, कपड़े प्रेस कर लेंगे।
हाँ, ओके,
उसके बाद बाथरूम।
फिर मैं अपने लिए कॉफी
में तो ब्लीच है ना, तो
मेरी आवाज आ रही।
तो जब तक आदरणीय गीता जी जुड़ती है, मैं आपको जो भी सभी इस समय मित्र यहाँ पर है बाद में बताने वाला था, पर वो सब बातें बता दूं। अगले श्रावण मास 2 वीक बाद आरंभ हो रहा है, और पिछले 2 साल की तरह इस बार भी हम श्रावण मास पारायण करेंगे। तो हर रोज मेरे ख्याल से डेट 14 जुलाई है, बट आई एम नॉट 100% श्योर राइट नाउ। तो 14 जुलाई से लेकर एक पूरे 30 दिन तक श्रावण मास का पाठ होगा। तो जो श्रावण मास के पाठ के लिए आप में से जिन्होंने गूगल फॉर्म भरा है, उनके साथ मीटिंग कल है, वो मैं भेज चुका हूँ इन्फॉर्मेशन, मैं दोबारा और आज भेज दूँगा। कुछ लोगों को गलत मिसअंडरस्टैंड हो रही है, वो मीटिंग हो चुकी। तो कल वो मीटिंग होगी श्रावण मास पारायण की पढ़ने वालों की। तो कैसे वो ऑर्गेनाइज होगा, कैसे वो प्लान होगा, उस पर सारी चर्चा होगी। तो अगर आपने गूगल फॉर्म भरा है, उस पर ग्रुप बनाया है, उसमें आप सबका नाम है, एंड प्लीज अटेंड दैट मीटिंग टुमारो, ताकि उस पर चर्चा हो सके। वो मीटिंग शॉर्ट मीटिंग होगी, क्योंकि उसके बाद में छंद रचना पर क्लास है, तो वी नीड जूम फॉर दैट। तो कृपया समय पर आए। इस बार पिछले 2 साल में थोड़ा सा परिवर्तन ये है कि एक पहले तो 45 मिनट रामायण का पाठ होगा, उसके बाद में 15 मिनट समीक्षा होगी। और समीक्षक हमारे मित्रों ने बड़ी मेहनत की है, तो ऑलरेडी उन्होंने एडवांस में वो समीक्षा को इन राइटिंग मुझे भेज दिया है, तो उन सबका मैं आभार प्रकट करता हूँ, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है। और गोल ये है कि इन सारी समीक्षाओं को इकट्ठा करके थोड़ा सा एडिट करके पॉलिश करके हम उनको एक पुस्तक के रूप में प्रकाशित करेंगे। तो इस बार भक्ति का भी आनंद दीजिए रामायण पाठ के समय, उसके बाद में फिर ज्ञान का भी आनंद दीजिए कि उसमें हमने क्या पढ़ा, उस बारे में चर्चा होगी। अभी एक भवानी जुड़ रही हैं, पता नहीं वो गीता जी किसी और के फोन से जुड़ रही होंगे, तो आई विल वेट फॉर दैट। और कल से हम हिंदी कविता के जो छंद हैं, सैकड़ों छंद हैं, उनके एक विद्वान हैं श्री आचार्य ओम नीरव जी, उन्होंने एक पुस्तक ली है छंद विज्ञान पर। तो छंद विज्ञान पर एक अच्छा क्लास शुरू कर रहे हैं, वो अल्टरनेट संडे क्लास है, कल से शुरू होगी, फिर पहले और तीसरे संडे। तो उस क्लास की जानकारी जो भी उसमें जिन्होंने पंजीकरण करवाया है, रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाया, उनको भेज दी गई है। और अभी भी ना करवाया तो मैंने कई मैसेज भेजे हुए हैं, यू कैन रजिस्टर योरसेल्फ राइट नाउ, ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन इज देयर एंड यू कैन कम टू दैट क्लास। 4 अगस्त को बाबा स्वामी तुलसीदास जी की 525वीं जन्म जयंती है। तो अगर हमारे बीच होते तो 525 वर्ष के होते उस दिन। तो भौतिक शरीर में नहीं है, पर स्वामी जी तो हमारे साथ हमेशा हैं। तो दिस ईयर वी विल बी सेलिब्रेटिंग, एक तो वी विल स्टार्ट तुलसी रामायण क्लास, पूरी रामचरितमानस की पूरी क्लास पूरे साल भर चलेगी, हर गुरुवार को होगी, और 24 अगस्त को गुरुवार ही है, तो गुरुवार को हम आरम्भ करेंगे और पर 1 साल वो क्लास चलेगी। तो उसको हमने स्वाध्याय रामायण स्वाध्याय नाम दिया है। तो करीब 12-13 मित्र उसमें अपने अपने तैयार पढ़े, उसमें विद्यार्थी भी होंगे और टीचर भी होंगे। तो हर क्लास को उनमें से ही कोई पढ़ाएगा। गीता जी आ गई है, तो अब जैसे बात की है वो आरम्भ करेंगे, और बाकी शेष जानकारी मैं बाद में दूंगा। Geeta ji, have you been able to join now?
Yes, I am back.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my
Welcome
goodness.
back.
I apologize. I think it's I was having an indentured experience there, what life would be like without electricity when we have to function with all this technology. So I apologize. There was a power outage here. So
Everybody is here, Geeta ji. Nobody has left. Be aware. So nobody has left. Everybody is here. We are all
okay,
waiting for you to.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. So okay, wonderful. So we can continue. So yes, so I'll try to wrap up in about 10 minutes. I think my time will be up by then. And of course, any questions, if I've missed something, we can just deal with those issues. So we were just looking at a couple of the chow pies that have evolved, I would say, over the last 5 to 6 decades as pieces that we feel very connected to, that we identify with a lot. And this particular one that I was talking about, it talks about Sri Rama's words, you know, echoing in the airs of our parents and our grandparents, to just be fearless. You can be fearless because I, Sri Ram, I am here with you with the bow in my hand. And actually, the photo that I'm sharing with you, it's from our Ram Leela, the Hindu Prachar Kendra's Bal Ram Leela, and that is our Bhagwan Sri Rama. So I thought it would be interesting for you to have the visual so that you can also see that Ram Leela is a very big part of our life here in the Caribbean and in Trinidad. Next, Omji. So I'm just sharing these chow pies. Yes. So how did our Jahaji ancestors live? They were very poor. Like I said, life was very difficult, very tough. They came here actually. The reason why they came, it was because they wanted a better life for themselves and their families. They thought they could earn and they could save and so on and return very easily to Bharat. But that was not possible for many of them. And here's an inspirational few lines from Hanuman Baba himself, speaking to those who were there on the seashore. And this is before, again, leaping to go across to Lanka. You know, we can endure hardships. We can live simply, but with commitment and with love for Bhagwan Sri Rama, our work will be accomplished because Harish Viseshi, we are happy, we are joyful, we feel inspired and motivated by our love for Sri Rama. So tabalagi mohi pari kehu tumha bhai, sahi dukha kanda moola palakai. And you know, our ancestors, you all know roti. Roti. We have what we call sada, plain roti, right? And many of them survived just eating roti or namak. Roti or namak bas. Or roti or mirchi bas. And even the bhat, that they will just have bhat, we'd call it mar. They will just drink and just have rice, boiled rice. So it was very difficult. So in many ways, they were living simply like this, with the very basic things. But that ability to endure, it was motivated also by words like these that came from Ramaduta Hanuman. Next. Yeah. So creating the difference. Now, it would have been very easy to become very disheartened. It would have been very easy and understandable if our indentured ancestors or Jahajis, Aji, Aja, Nani, Nana, Paraji, Parnani, whoever they were, if they became bitter. Because of their experiences, they could have become very hostile, and uncaring. But they took inspiration from words like these, where Sri Rama, in his own banvas, in his own exile, in Panchavati, in the Dandaka forest, wherever he found himself as he traversed, and he would be meeting the rishis and the munis and the tribals, whoever he encountered. It is said from the time Sri Rama took up his abode, wherever he, not just in Panchavati, this is saying Panchavati, but wherever he found himself, that place became more beautiful. It became more prosperous. And so the Jahajis, our ancestors, were inspired by this. I must make the place where I have found myself, even though it is as terrible as exile, and I am torn, I have moved away, I must not neglect this place. I must be a blessing to this place that I now call home. And so this particular verse inspired them in that way. Giribana Nadi Tal Chabichai, and Hindus, the river is so important for us. We are a river civilization, living and growing and being nurtured along the banks of the Ganga. So wherever there were water courses, actually this is why we have the Ganga Dasera, we have the Ganesh Utsav Visarjan, and all of that. All of these things also came with our ancestors. So the Kagamriga Brinda Anandita Rahi Madhupa Madhura Gunjata Chabilahi, and the Bhuta Yagya. Bhuta Yagya also is a very important feature of our worship. So all of this is embedded in this particular Chaupai. Next Chaupai. Next slide. Here is, where is Ayodhya? We teach this to our small children, the little children in our heritage programs. Where is Ayodhya? From the lips of Rani Sumitra, Mata Sumitra, Avadhataha Jaha Rama Nivasu, Tahai Divasu Jaha Bhanu Prakasu. This is a foundation verse for our Hindu community and our world here in Trinidad, where Lakshman wants to go, right? But he has to take permission of his mother. This is why, the way Hindu families live also, it's greatly influenced by how Sri Ram and his three brothers, how they interacted with their parents and so on. The family life, filial relations, very, very sacred. So she says to him, my dear son, speaking to Lakshman, Sita is your mother. And Sri Rama, who loves you in every way, he is your father. So you are not going to be motherless. You are not going to be fatherless out there in the jungle in Ban, because they will be with you. And so profound, Ayodhya is there where Rama dwells. And from the time we take the name, from the time we say Jai Shri Ram, Rama is here with us. So just as there it is daytime where the sun is shining, in the same way. So in the blistering heat, in the blistering sun of the cane fields, Sri Ram was this sunlight for them. It was not a punishment. Very, very beautiful, inspirational verse. Awatataha jaha Ramanivasu tahidi vasu jaha bhanu prakasu. Next. So I'm just, this is the last piece I am singing because when we are talking about Sri Ram and Sita Devi and seeing them beyond our own parents or worldly parents, divine mother, their divine father, and what I just shared there, it's captured very beautifully again in one of these local songs, and this is based on the Doha from Balkand. Rama, 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 Ram. Rama, we want our children like you. Dani Shiromani Kripanidhi, Nath Kahau Sati Bhau. Chahau Tumahi Samana Sutta, Prabhu Sana Kavana Durau. The hero of our dharma and our karma too. Rama, we want our children like you. So for children to be like Ram, the home has to be of a certain culture and certain nature. So the verse describes this. In the front of our home, flowers and bees, colorful jhandis dancing in the breeze. In the darkest of night, there's a sacred light from a diya in the yard, a Hindu home in sight. Our home must reflect the Hindu Dharma way. Sita Ram Namaskar, we greet you every day. So this reflects the culture of the homes to which we all belonged, the family and the energy that into which we were raised when we were small children. So we cannot say that we want the children to be like Sri Ram and Sita Devi, but we don't nurture that possibility as parents and grandparents and so on in our own selves. So this is the last singing piece. Let's just see. So we're coming to the close now. So we've looked at life, how, the Ramayana has impacted life and so many aspects of our living here in Trinidad. Now, whenever we go to a funeral, okay, and the last journey to the smashan, when the shava is being carried to be put on that chitti on the pyre, the chant is Shri Ram Nam Satya Hai. Everyone chants this. So from the time of birth, those songs, the Sanskar Geet, they praise and they celebrate Sri Rama. And when one is leaving this world, also, again, Sri Ram Nam Satya Hai. And after, even on the journey, you will hear chaupais, Ramayana, bhajans, and chants on mobile loudspeakers as the vehicles drive to that place. And another very interesting tradition that has evolved here in Trinidad is the Jagaran Satsangs. And these are usually held nightly up until the Shrad rituals are finished. So the Dasgatra there for the 10-day and then the 12, 13-day ritual. So there will be maybe Navratri, 9 nights of reading or 11 nights of reading and so on. The most requested text, Shastra, to share with the bereaved family for those nightly sessions is Ramayana. And that is very telling about people's love for Ramayana here in Trinidad. So this is as much as I will share. Omji, I think I left a small gallery, which we can just go through very quickly because this is my closing slides. I thought closing should be with death. So we did that. So I have these very old Ram Leela pictures. I shared some of the more recent ones during the presentation, just a few of them. But these images are from some Ram Leelas that are over 120 years old. It means they started way back, some of them 120, 125, 130 years. And so we have been trying to collect images from these Ram Leelas that are still going on. And you can see how much it looks so much like village India in many ways. And here in Trinidad, our specialty is the Maidani Ram Leela, not Munch Ram Leela. And it is very popular here. And we give a lot to maintain this Maidani tradition of Ram Leela. And the specialty of the organization to which I belong is Bal Ram Leela. Ram Leela that's performed, directed, and narrated by children. So these are some very old images, and you can see the tails. See, can you just go back, OMG? I just wanted to point that out. Just the slide before. You can get, because when material and all of that isn't available, they just took these long poles, and how they improvise, and they just wrap it, and you can see like it's a long tail there with Hanuman and Sugriva and all of them. So there was a lot of improvising and adjusting that had to be done because so much was not available. So this is the end of my presentation. And this is a very old black and white, and always the Sita Devi will be a Kanya. And I thought I'll share this picture from our mandir at the Hindu Prachar Kendra. It is called the Sri Rama Vijay Mandir. That's the name of our mandir. And we are all Rama Bhaktas. So thank you very much. Any questions, Omji? I'll try to see what I can answer.
Thank you so much. So kind of you. Thank you. Let me close this so that everybody can see the screen. So thank you so much, Geeta ji.
बहुत अच्छा गीता जी,
बहुत बढ़िया,
बहुत बढ़िया,
वंडरफुल वंडरफुल,
बहुत बढ़िया गीता जी,
वेरी मच शिवरिंग।
गीता जी कोई शब्द नहीं है इस सत्र के लिए,
बहुत
कोई शब्द
सुंदर,
नहीं
बहुत
है।
सुंदर,
निशब्द हो गया।
वंडरफुल वंडरफुल, बहुत बढ़िया,
रियली पूरा
Thank you so
हिला दिया
much.
गीता जी, आपने पूरा हिला दिया, बहुत सब रोमांचित कर दिया पूरा।
सही में इतनी सुंदर जानकारी, और आपने जो एक यहाँ से जो इंडिया से जो लोग गए उसको रामायण से कैसे जोड़ा, और अंत में आपने लिखा राम नहीं आया किंतु राम की रामायण आ गई, तो वो तो बहुत ही अद्भुत था, वो बहुत अद्भुत।
Thank you. I am so happy, Omji, because we are working on a course right now that's called Continuity in Change, because we have had to adjust a lot here, and with that adjustment, it means things have to change and they don't remain the same. So the challenge for us is how to maintain tradition, how to not compromise our dharmic heritage, how to not compromise the teachings of Ramayana, even if we have to tell it in a different language, it must still be retained. So it's been many years of struggle, since a small girl. I've grown up. Maybe that's why I am a little bit capable like this, because it's what I have known my whole life. And there are others like me. I am only one of others who are there, who are very dedicated to the Ramayana tradition. It's been a very, very intense struggle, very trying, very difficult. So I am happy that elders like you are appreciative, and it's very encouraging. And I'll be sure to share your feedback with our gurus and our teachers who are here. So thank you so much. I don't know if
Thank you.
there's anything specific that you want to ask about.
Anybody have any question?
Question.
प्रश्न हो, कोई curiosity हो जो ट्रिनिडाड के बारे में हो, वहाँ के इनके रामायण केंद्र के बारे में हो, और
जरा बताइए रामायण. Tell us about the Ramayana Kendra. What your organization is doing. What?
Sure. Okay, sure, Ram Malik ji, thank you. So our organization is called Hindu Prachar Kendra, and we are involved in training the upcoming generations in every aspect of dharmic heritage. Our focus is Ramayana. So our flagship, our main project, it is called Heritage and Service Learning. It means Hindu heritage and Hindu service learning. So we follow the Hindu calendar, all sacred occasions, all festivals, Holi, Navaratri, Mahashivratri, everything on the calendar is there. But which we have, we observe, but our main thrust is in training children and young persons, mainly from age 5 to age 20, in Hindu Dharma. So that is saying it very quickly. And our organization is almost 40 years old. I don't know if anyone would have heard of Raviji. It was founded by Sri Raviji, who himself spent almost 11 years in Kashi studying. And when he returned in 1984, he established Hindu Prachar Kendra. So our work is really training. Our projects are focused on training the next generation of Hindus. So thank you for
great job you are doing.
Thank you. We need more and more such Prachar Kendra in Patna and Varanasi and Lucknow and Agra and Vadodara and Bangalore and Hyderabad. So because there we are just forgetting about all these things. So great work you are doing there. It's an amazing thing. We try to do some small thing in Houston and we are just not very successful. That requires your dedication and commitment, but by all of you, amazing. Any other question for Geeta ji?
Yes.
Please. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Very nice explanation. We are very much grateful to you for showing all those things. One thing I want to ask, in India, Sundarkand is very much popular in Tulsi Ramayana. What about this? Is Sundarkand is so popular there also?
Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much for that question, because, I am a person, I am very disciplined with time. So when Omji tells me 40 minutes, it means I must be finished in 39 minutes. But there's there's a lot to share. Sundarkand, the Parayana, we had Sundarkand Parayan in our Ram Vijay Mandir about 2 months ago. And we are having Sundarkand Parayan for Tulsidas Jayanti, which is coming up in August. So we do have community recital. What we are now trying to encourage persons to take it on as personal sadhana. So that, it's domestic, it's in the home. So we have just started recording small pieces of Sundarkand, sing and repeat, chant and repeat, so that we can share it with our members so that they can listen and learn it. So thank you very much. Yes, Sundarkand is a favorite here. And because Hanumanji is a favorite, Hanuman Baba is becoming more popular than Sri Rama himself. So Sundarkand is very much appreciated by people, and more persons are getting interested in doing the path, the Parayana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jai Hanuman.
Jai Hanuman.
The name itself is Sundarkand, so
yes,
it is so beautiful, so it will be there no matter what. Any other question? Last question. One more. Yes, Abhavis. You are unmuted.
जय सिया राम. अभी गीता जी ने शब्द कहा था लक्ष्मण देवर सही बाला, तो सही बाला किस रेफरेंस से है? What is the reference of the word Sahi Bala?
Acha, so in our Hindu marriage here in Trinidad, the dulha ke saath ek chota ladka will be there, a small boy would usually go. And we all know the Hindu marriage, it's very family oriented. There's something for every member of the family to do, for Pua, Mausi, Dada, Dadi, Chota, Bhai, Bare Bhai. Everyone has some role and function. So the special honor of accompanying the Dulha is given to some small boy in the family, usually close to him, maybe Bhatija, someone like this. And he gets to sit in that marriage car to go with the Dulha. And he will be given the gifts and celebrated also. So he is celebrated as Lakshman, who is the younger brother, goes like the younger brother. So Lakshmana, they were a Sahibala, and they have gone for the marriage. So this is that connection. Yes, thank you. That's so observant. Thank you very much.
हमारे यहाँ उत्तर भारत में भी होता है,
North Bihar, it is very common. It is just
हमारे यहाँ भी होता है, और लड़के जब घोड़ी घर चढ़ी होती है तो घोड़ी पे भी बिठाते हैं छोटे बच्चे को ना।
साहबाला बोलते हैं, साहबाला,
भतीजा हो, छोटा भाई हो, छोटा भांजा हो, कुछ भी, तो वही प्रसंग है ये बाला जो है बच्चे के लिए।
And you know,
आदरणीय, हाँ गीता जी।
Yeah, I was just going to say the Bhojpuri influence is very strong because Bhojpuri and that dialect languages influence us a lot. So while I will say Sahibala, but when they are singing, they'll say Saibala. So some words change, like they won't say Sahadev, Sahadev, Mahadev nahi, Mahadev. So Bhojpuri, the dialect, you'll find some word differences here and there because of that influence of the language over time. Yes.
चलो चलिए गीता जी के लिए एक बार तालियां, सब थोड़ा अनम्यूट करके तालियां आप अपने आप अनम्यूट करिए सब लोग जरा।
बहुत ही अच्छा है, बहुत ज्ञान प्रद रहा है।
So kind of you, so much thank you Geeta ji, and we hope to have another opportunity of listening to you about Bhagwan Shri Ram, Ramayana, Ram Bhakti, and there are Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta, so there are endless things to talk about. So whenever you are available, we'd like to have the honor of inviting you and listen to you.
Sure, gladly. Gladly.
रामायण जो इन्होंने बताया, इनका जो केंद्र है, it's a very nice website. I would encourage you to visit the website and know more about it. So we have another 5 minutes. I'll just wrap up with future activities. मैं भी थोड़ी देर पहले बता रहा था आपको. So कल रविवार को we have 2 meetings. First meeting is to discuss the planning of Mass Paran. In Shravan Mass, we are doing Mass Paran. So for 30 days, when Shravan month begins, every day there will be recitation for first 45 minutes. And after that, there will be a commentary by one of us who has spent a lot of time in studying that. And this year, I have requested them to give me that commentary in writing in advance, which I already received. So what our goal is that there will be 30 days reading, recitation, and 30 commentaries. They all will put together, and we will have a book. So we will have a book, something like Learn Ramayana in 30 days. So day 1, day 2, day 3, 30 days. And each day maybe a maximum like 2 pages. So something like 60, 70 pages of book with an essence of Ramcharitmanas. That's our ambition. So I wish to encourage people in Trinidad to take part in that. So there will be a meeting by the Ramayana readers tomorrow. So जिन्होंने अभी Google form उसके लिए भरा है, उनको मैं मैसेज भेज चुका हूँ. So आप सब पधारें ताकि काम सुचारू रूप से चल सके. जो हम 30 दिन का मास पारायण करेंगे, उसमें जो गीता प्रेस में जो मार्क किए हुए हैं मास पारायण के, वी विल नॉट यूज दैट, हमने, क्योंकि वो अनइवन है, तो उसकी कल चर्चा करेंगे। और वो मास पारायण और नवा पारायण की व्यवस्था और कहाँ विश्राम होना चाहिए, उस पर मैं अगले शनिवार को, प्रोग्राम जी की कृपा हुई तो विस्तार से चर्चा करूंगा। तो वो मेरा एक बड़ा फेवरेट टॉपिक है। और पिछले 2.25 साल से जब से मैंने ऑनलाइन प्रोग्राम शुरू किया, तब से मैं पूरा प्रयास कर रहा हूँ कभी बोलने का मौका मिला, पर अभी तक नहीं मिला। पर अगले शनिवार को राम जी की क्या मर्जी है, आई विल टॉक अबाउट दैट, कि हम व्हाई वी यूज डिफरेंट वे ऑफ पार्टीशनिंग रामायण इन 30 days or 9 days then from गीता प्रेस, and there is a logic behind that. तो उस विषय में हम चर्चा करेंगे। और आपको इस बारे में कोई जानकारी हो कि ये जो गीता जो 30 विश्राम पारायण है और 9 विश्राम पारायण है, वो वहां पर है, वो कैसे हैं और कब हुए हैं, तो आई विल रियली लाइक टू हियर फ्रॉम यू। मैंने कई विद्वानों से पूछा है, इनफैक्ट मैंने गीता प्रेस को भी कई बार ईमेल भेजा है, पर आई नेवर रिसीव्ड अ रिस्पांस। पर इफ यू नो व्हाट इज द सोर्स ऑफ दैट, कब से शुरू हुआ, कैसे शुरू हुआ, वो वहां जहाँ पर जो पारायण का विश्राम लिखा है वहीं पर क्यों है, अगर आपके पास कोई जानकारी हो तो प्लीज मुझे भेजिए, एंड आई विल लाइक टू यूज दैट। तो 9 तारीख को उसके बारे में बात करेंगे, और उसके बाद मतलब मासिक पारायण शुरू हो ही जाएगा। और 16 तारीख से 16, 23 और 30, 16 जुलाई, 23 जुलाई एंड 30 जुलाई, 3 Saturdays we will talk about जो मानस में सोरठे हैं। आपको पता है मानस में कई प्रकार के छंद हैं, उसमें एक छंद है सोरठा, और रामचरित मानस में 87 सोरठे हैं। और सोरठा एक बड़ा डिफरेंट तरह का छंद है जिसमें तुकांत नहीं है, विच इज वेरी अनयूजुअल फॉर पोएट्री। तो इसके बारे में मैंने भी कई विद्वान से चर्चा की कि ये सोरठों का और कहाँ कहाँ कैसा कैसा प्रयोग है, and unfortunately I didn't get any credible response. I got vague response but nothing very credible. तो अगर आपको पता हो कि सोरठों का कहाँ कहाँ किन किन कवियों ने और एक्सटेंसिवली प्रयोग किया है, तो आई विल लाइक टू नो दैट। तो तब से वो 87 सोरठों में से हम करीब 15-20 मित्रों मिलके 3 सेशन में हम करीब 30 सोरठों पर बात करेंगे, एंड विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि सोरठा है क्या, सोरठा का प्रयोग क्या है, और कैसे गोस्वामी जी ने प्रयोग किया है। सो दैट विल द प्लान फॉर जुलाई। 4 अगस्त को अभी गीता जी बता रही थी कि तुलसी जयंती है, एंड इट्स वेरी स्पेशल तुलसी जयंती। It is the 525th birthday of तुलसीदास जी, 525वीं उनकी जन्म जयंती है। So I consider it very auspicious day at least in my lifetime. I don't think I have too many years ahead of me, so I will really like to enjoy it. रामायण का देखिए ना आप इन्फ्लुएंस ट्रिनिडाड में रावण के भरोसे ही देखिए वहाँ पर हमारे जो भाई बहन है, they are so vibrant today. So जो रामायण जिस बाबा ने दी है, तो I will like to celebrate Tulsi Jayanti as a dedication to Tulsi himself. So then we will have a little type poetry recitation dedicated to Tulsidas ji. So I will write it up a little bit, send you Google form. So write some poetry on Tulsidas ji, about Tulsidas ji, about him, about his work, about his contribution, and we will read those poem and poetry on that day. So that is how we will celebrate Goswami Tulsidas's Jayanti. Also, we will be formally doing Lokarpan of Tulsi Ramayana 1008 पंक्तियों में in अवधि अनुवाद। विनीता मिश्रा जी शायद आज नहीं है। She has just completed अवधि अनुवाद of from Padya to Gadya in Avadhi, and that book is complete. It's right now just going through very fine checking. We will launch that. Telugu and Bengali are practically ready. They're getting into final checking. कामेश्वर जी हैं, वो तेलुगु का फाइनल चेकिंग कर रही हैं। बांग्ला काजी जी से सुबह मेरी मीटिंग हुई थी। It's practically ready. Just few changes here and there. Maithili and Bhojpuri translations are very much in progress. Hopefully they may be ready by the time. English is practically ready. So we might be able to formally launch many translations of Tulsi Ramayana 1008 पंक्तियों में on that day. Let's just see. That is the best day to do it. It is Tulsidas Ji's birth, and we like to dedicate to him on that day. You know, usse zyada there can't be a bigger tribute to Tulsidas Ji's. Then he wrote that Ramayana in simple language in Awadhi for us. Now that also we are forgetting. That's the unfortunate part, right? मंगल भवन मंगलहारी द्रपौसु दशरथ बिहारी, इतनी फेमस चौपाई है, लाखों करोड़ों बार हम पढ़ चुके हैं, पर आप पढ़ने वालों को पूछिए 90% people don't know what that चौपाई means literally. That's the sad part of it. So okay, he wrote in Awadhi because people didn't know Sanskrit, so let's write in the language that people understand today. So that's what we are doing. Convert in Telugu, convert in Bangla, convert in French, convert in German, today's language people understand, so that Ramayana remains vibrant. So that will be the plan that day. और उसके बाद में तो again हो ये सो वही जो राम रिच लगा, जो परमात्मा चाहेंगे वही होगा. So आज आप सब पधारे इतनी बड़ी संख्या में, आप सबको बहुत बहुत आभार. और सबसे ज्यादा आभार तो आदरणीय गीता जी का. तो नाम तो गीता वाहिनी है, जैसे अभी रश्मि जी ने, डॉक्टर रश्मि ने लिखा था, आप तो राम वाहिनी है, गीता वाहिनी कहाँ आपका नाम है, मैं तो राम कथा वाहिनी है, राम कथा लेकर आई है. So beautiful of you to talk about it. So बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. So let's just close. ओम सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु. ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ओम असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मामृतगमय. ओम शांति शांति शांति. जय श्री राम.